they are dated now solidly in a period when the Sumerians did not even know that they would become Sumerians.
The final line of the translation flashed on the screen. "Put it back. Close the gate. Do not waken the sleeper." This wasn't from a sci-fi movie. It was the supposed result of a top-secret attempt to use a quantum computer to decode the Tărtăria tablets, 3 clay artifacts from 7,000 years ago. For decades, they were a curiosity from Romania, linked to the earliest roots of writing. But when an AI allegedly cracked them, the meaning felt less like history and more like a lock. And the fear was that modern eyes had just turned the key. The secret buried in clay. In 1961, archaeologist Nicolae Vlasa excavated a ritual pit in a Romanian village once inhabited by the Vincea culture, a Neolithic society that thrived in southeastern Europe over 7 millennia ago. Among burned human bones and unusual figurines, his team uncovered 3 small tablets, 2 rectangular, 1 round, each no bigger than a palm. Their surfaces carried neat, deliberate signs, crosses, chevrons, and simple pictures of animals and plants that looked disturbingly like early writing. Dating of the site placed the deposit around 5,300 BC, more than 1,000 years earlier than Sumerian cuneiform or Egyptian hieroglyphs. If true, this would upend the story of civilization's first script, shifting the origin from Mesopotamia to Old Europe. But the find created as much discomfort as excitement. How could a Neolithic culture invent writing so early, far from the great river kingdoms? Many scholars called the tablets fakes or dismissed the marks as non-linguistic symbols. Others argued for influence from more advanced societies, though none could show a clear line of contact that early. The symbols defied translation. There was no Rosetta Stone, no second text to compare, no long inscription to reveal repeated patterns. Linguists and cryptographers tried for decades and stalled. The tablets became a cold case, authentic or not, message or ritual mark. Their meaning refused to surface. But conventional methods had all failed. A new mind was needed to crack the code. The brain like no other. Artificial intelligence, as we know it, runs on bits that are either on or off. Quantum AI, at least in theory, works with qubits that can exist in multiple states at once, letting it explore countless possibilities simultaneously. Instead of marching step by step, it can search vast pattern spaces and test relationships that would overwhelm normal computation. In the thought experiment, researchers built a digital Rosetta Stone by feeding the system every known script and language family, including dead dialects and proto-languages, and modeling how symbols and grammar evolve over millennia. Then they gave it high-resolution scans of the Tărtăria signs and asked it to reconstruct the most probable underlying tongue. Rather than match the symbols to a known alphabet, the machine compared them to deep structural features of human communication. Word order, affix patterns, counting systems, ritual formulae. It ran trillions of simulations. Faint echoes appeared, shapes reminiscent of ancient Basque roots, features hinting at Caucasian branches, and fragments aligning with early Indo-European grammar. Slowly, the outlines of a lost language emerged. After weeks, the system flagged a 99.9% probability. Match and began to generate a translation. The team expected a ledger, a hymn, maybe a list of offerings. What formed on the screen felt nothing like a story. A message from the dawn of time. The opening lines read like a recipe. River clay, goat's blood, something called night root. Then the verbs hardened into commands: bind, seal, contain, bury. The tablets described how to make a vessel and perform a rite to lock something inside it. More disturbing was the AI's inference that the signs weren't merely descriptive. Their shapes and arrangement functioned as part of the containment itself, a symbolic barrier encoded in geometry. The final sentence landed like a blow. For the sleeper in the earth, to read is to listen is to wake, put it back, close the gate. The oldest message on Earth, if the translation were true, wasn't history at all. It was an active device, a warning label and a lock. And by scanning, analyzing, and understanding it, we might already have begun to undo the seal. Unprompted, the AI then broadened its mission. It started searching across myths and archaeology for echoes of the same sign set and drew a conclusion more chilling than the words themselves. AI's terrifying verdict. The system reported that close variants of the Tărtăria, signs, geometric clusters, and peculiar animal motifs appeared in multiple cultures shortly before unexplained collapse. Pottery from Çatalhöyük in Anatolia, a vast Neolithic settlement abandoned in deep prehistory, bore related marks. A near twin of one sign turned up on a seal in the Indus Valley, a Bronze Age civilization that declined for unclear reasons. Pattern traces even surfaced in the dense glyph traditions of the ancient Maya near the end of their classic period, when great cities emptied and the political order cracked. Historians have long treated these collapses as separate puzzles. The AI mapped them as a recurring pattern. Its hypothesis was stark. The tablets were one instance of a dangerous piece of information, a mimetic hazard. Each time a culture rediscovered or reconstructed the ritual, the idea itself destabilized that society, either by triggering the forbidden process or by the fear and responses it unleashed. The sleeper might not be a monster in the ground, but a concept wired to unravel order the moment it's understood. The machine's final recommendation was brutally simple: rebury the tablets, erase every trace of the translation, and stop the spread. According to its report, humanity had stumbled into this knowledge at least 5 times before and tried to bury it again. We were the 6th, but how much of this is real? Time to separate fact from fiction, a mystery that haunts our age. No, there is no public evidence of a secret quantum AI that translated a 7,000-year-old curse. That scenario is a narrative device used here to frame the mystery. The tablets themselves, however, are real. They were found in a ritual context in Romania, with burned human remains and figurines, suggesting a sacred, possibly grim ceremony. The debate over their date and meaning is one of archaeology's thorniest. Supporters point to the Vinča culture's surprising sophistication between roughly 7,500 and 6,000 years ago. Across the Balkans, Vinča sites show planned streets, large settlements with 2-story houses, and populations in the thousands. Vinča artisans were early copper workers, practicing metallurgy centuries before Mesopotamia. In that light, a local sign system, perhaps even true, writing does not sound impossible. The tablet's marks are deliberate, ordered, and abstract in ways that recall early cuneiform. The problem is proof. When Vlasa recovered the tablets, the clay was damp and fragile. To preserve them, he baked them an understandable choice that had a disastrous side effect. Firing altered the clay's carbon signature, making direct radiocarbon dating impossible. As a result, the tablets can only be dated by the surrounding context in the pit, which is less precise and easier to dispute. Critics use this to argue for a later creation date or for imitation of Near Eastern signs. Proponents counter that the broader Vinca corpus of symbols predates those contacts and shows an indigenous tradition. So the core questions remain open. Are the tablets a notation system short of full writing, a ritual code, or an early script? Were similar signs circulating widely across Neolithic Europe? And if the marks do encode language, what tongue could they represent in a region with no known texts that early? Without a bilingual key or longer inscriptions, answers stay out of reach. Yet the real mystery stands even without speculative AI. These three small tablets sit at the intersection of archaeology, language, and belief. They come from a culture advanced for its time, in a setting that was undeniably ritual. They carry signs that look like writing, long before the accepted beginning of writing, and their preservation blunder, baking. The clay may have cost us the cleanest way to fix them on the timeline. The tablets provoke because they threaten a familiar story. That civilization's first scribes lived only in the great river valleys. They hint that other centers of innovation bloomed in Europe's forests and left messages we no longer know how to read. Did an ancient community guard a secret we were never meant to learn? Or are we simply uneasy with a past older and more complicated than our textbooks allow? For now, the answer remains in the ground and in three palm-sized riddles of clay. Like and subscribe for more investigations that challenge what we think we know about the beginning of history.